What will be the hottest EMTBs of 2026? Well, that's what we're going to be exploring today. The question is, will it be the bike brands that will be the heroes, or maybe the e-bike system manufacturers? So in this video, bikes of different travel, of different colors, component specifications, price, battery range, and of course, motor system. And we begin with one brand that is leading the way and on an increasing amount of bikes, and that is Avinox. Now, why would you choose Avinox? Well, for many reasons. Reliability, efficiency, service backup, sophistication, and then, of course, things such as the power. 120 newton meters, 1,000 watts peak power, and then the battery. Like I said, the efficiency is super key, the quietness of the motor, wireless, touchscreen, I mean, it's got it all. But what about the bikes? Well, I think at this moment in time, the Amflow is obviously the bike which is on everyone's mind, but there's lots of other ones as well, such as the Megamo 160mm travel. This bike comes in either carbon or aluminium, comes in a range of specifications as well. I think the great thing for you guys is that the prices start at under £5,000. Of course, when it comes to Avinox, it is the Amflow that very much set the world alight in 2024 with the PL and the PL Pro. Now, the great thing about the Amflow bikes is simply the component specification which you get for the price. You also get, you get a 150mm travel bike with great suspension, great handling, and a bike which you've taken to a huge range of places, lowland, highland, and into the ice zone. I mean, it is one hell of a bike. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's really cool. It's the Unno Mith, and Cesar Rojo, the man behind the bike, would tell me off for sure if I didn't include it in the top bikes of 2026. Do you know what's really interesting? We're going through this list now, as you'll see throughout the course of the video, and we're talking about bikes which we've already seen. But I guarantee you, in the next 3 months, there will be new bikes, not only with Bosch motors, but with Avinox motors. It's continually changing. And getting back to the Myth, it is cool. I mean, it's a long travel, it's like insanely lightweight. Why would you buy an MTB when you can have something as beautiful as that? And I mean, it obviously comes at a price, but performance downhill, fully trust Cesar Rojo to come up with the goods. Nothing else to say. Actually, maybe it's not for me to say. What does the legendary man behind the lens, 21-year-old Ollie, have to say about it? Ollie? One of his favourite bikes. Whoa, says it all. It's worth bearing in mind that more money doesn't actually give you more performance all the time, especially when it comes to the bike specifications of bike. However, having said that, like a 170mm travel bike will descend better than a 150mm travel bike simply because of the diameter of the forks. As I mentioned, lots of brands are now speccing the Avinox system on their bikes. The ones I'm talking about here today are only a selection. There's over a dozen on the market at the minute. One bike that's always caught my attention is the brand called Olympia. And this is a 160mm travel version, which is prototype at the moment, will be on the market in 2026. Of course, you can spend as much as you want to on an Avinox equipped bike. We're now with a brace of forbidden bikes. We've got the Core and the Light. Now, the difference between the two bikes is fundamentally the Light bike has got a 600 watt-hour battery, 140, 150mm travel, whereas the Core is 150, 160. This is actually a customer's bike, and it's rumoured to be over 15,000 euros. And it's pretty trick. It's even got trick stuff brakes, Fox Podium fork, Magic Mary Albert Gravity up front, and a Magic Mary on the rear. The Cane Creek E-Wings titanium cranks obviously add to the price, and overall, it's a pretty cool package. Okay, A for Avinox. It makes sense that we continue this on an alphabetical basis, although in no particular order. Just going to tell you, this is going to be pretty full on, this video, so I definitely need a coffee to see me through it. Let's move on to another company called Askoll. Askoll is a lesser well-known brand from Italy. We saw their 1200 watt bike in Riva del Garda this year, and expect to see more from that brand in 2026. Now, B is for Brose. Less Brose bikes these days than previously, although they've come out with a new motor. And it's really interesting that they've recently been acquired or bought by Yamaha. So what happens to Brose in the next few years will be really interesting. Nonetheless, it's Brose, which is at the heart of most of the Levo bikes over the past decade. This is a Fantic here with a Brose, going for some Mag Drive S, but still great power, great efficiency, and a great system from Germany. Bafang is definitely one of the top of the list. Huge technological know-how. We went there last year. We saw how it operates. It is super slick. But in terms of the range of motors, batteries, displays, controllers, the R&D team behind that company is immense. I've ridden many bikes with Bafang motors. The Marco Kunlun, which is a 170mm travel bike, 130 Newton meters from that M560 drive unit. Bosch, and thanks to Raymon on the booth here for the hospitality on this very hot day. Now, Bosch are very much the pioneers of the emtb system, and there are more bikes with Bosch systems than any other on the planet. And there's a good reason for that. Performance, reliability, and backup. But I'm going to quickly look at some of the bikes before we take off. I'm going to give you some of my favorites, but look at the brands, right, folks? Bulls, Cannondale, Canyon, Commensal, Conway, Crucis, Cube, Flyer, Focus, Ghost, Highbike, Lapierre, Marin, Merida, Moustache, M1, Mondrake, Nikolai, Norco, Ibis, Kona, KTM, Orbea, Pivot, Santa Cruz, Scott, Simplon, Stevens, Tok, Transition, Trek, Unno, Whistle, White, and Yeti. That is an insane amount of bike brands that choose the system. And like I said, it's a tried and trusted system. And the performance, 100 Newton meters, 750 watts peak power. You've got a range of batteries, you've got a range of displays and controls, you've got an app. I mean, it's pretty much got it all. And as I mentioned, it's got so many bikes. So let's have a look at some of my favorites. Right, I'm going to give you my pick of Bosch bikes. I think one of the ones near the top of my list is the Canyon Neuron Collective. This bike has got a 160mm fork up front, option of an 800 watt-hour battery, 27.5, really good component spec, especially for descending. I've ridden this bike down Tutti Frutti in Italy, one of the hardest enduro tracks in the world. And the handling on this bike, the suspension, the support it gives you, I can't describe it, but for someone who's 95 kilos to be diving down some very brutal terrain on such a relatively short travel bike, it's a top performing bike. And the price of £5,100, I think it's a stunner. Continuing our journey of Bosch equipped bikes, the Orbea Wild. I mean, dreamy, customization, winning, different model specifications. I mean, if you want an enduro EMTB 160mm travel, it doesn't get much better than this. Many World Cup wins under Flo Espenera. And yeah, like I said, it's the customization, the fact you can have this bike, whatever component specification you want, different colorways, and suspension kinematic, and the geometry on this bike is absolutely on the button. One other thing, remember that the Bosch comes in either the CX or the CXR version. This is actually a CXR version here. So what you've got with the CXR is it's still got 100 Newton meters and 750 watts peak power, but the power is delivered a lot quicker. So if you're tackling steep, techie ground, then it's probably the CXR. But believe me, it's a pretty wild pony. A hot day in the south of France for the hottest bikes of 2026. I really like the Scott Patron. This is the 900 tuned Super Trail. Everything about this bike is about aggressive riding, podium fork, Magic Mary Super Gravity tires, aluminium wheels, and of course, let's not forget the system, Bosch CX 900 watt-hour battery. I love the integration, I love the simplicity up front of house. Of course, bikes like this come at a price. This bike is £11,499, but the Patrons come in at a lot less than that. So let's also not forget that when it comes to choosing your bike, how they look is super important, and I really like the look of this bike. Let's know your thoughts. When we started EMBN 8 years ago, Nico Vullios was testing the prototype of this bike, the GLP. Nico went on to win many World Cup races on Lapierre bikes. For those of you who don't know who Nico Vullios is one of the most successful, greatest downhill racers ever. What's so special about the GLP? Well, primarily it's about the battery placement. It was a pioneering bike back in the day. I truly believe it's still a pioneering bike in terms of the weight distribution. 800 watt hour battery. This has got actually the Gen 4 Bosch CXR in it. But you might have heard it on the channel many times. When you ride this bike, you can actually lift the front and you can lift the back simply because the weight is in the right place. So thanks to Nico Vulios, Jerome Guillou, who's actually used this bike to XCO World Champion Rainbow Stripes. But I still believe this is a really, truly great emtb. Next Bosch bike is the Trek Rail. I know so many people that once they've bought a Trek Rail, their next bike and their next bike after that has been a Trek Rail as well. Geometry, kinematics, everything about this bike is about fun and speed, balance and comfort. You fancy something a little bit custom from Bosch? How about the Santa Cruz Bullit 170mm travel? Only 88 of these produced in the world. 170mm travel with loads of fancy bits on it, but obviously it comes at a price of, it's a 5-figure price, let's face it, but lots of other options which are less than that. The Yeti. I remember when Yeti turned up at the E-Enduro World Cup back in, 4 years ago, and their results were pitiful with the Shimano motor. However, the reigning E-Enduro World Cup champion is Ryan Gilchrist, who literally decimated the field with his power, with the power of Shimano and a great bike. Quite interesting, actually, it's quite interesting they come out with the Bosch with 100 Newton meters, 750 watts peak power, 800 watt hour battery. But then the Shimano bike was always a beautiful bike anyway. E2 Drives OWURU. Now, there's no bikes with this system, with the emtb system just yet, but I really need you guys to get tuned into what these guys offer. Integrated stepless automatic. We'll start off with the automatic first. Automatic as in this bike will always be in the right gear for you, so always in the right cadence. Stepless is there's an infinite amount of gear ratios, and then the key one obviously is the integration. So this is a motor and gearbox all in one. It's a sort of Belgian-France company. Started off by some boffins, should I say, very clever engineers. And I think the possibilities with this system are off the charts. Fazua Ride 60, Santa Cruz Heckler SL, 460 watt hour battery, 16mm motor, one hell of a descender machine and super light. Folks, I'm going rogue. Jeremy and Anthony have just done us some espresso at the Canyon booth, and they're great espressos. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm going rogue. I need to go off script, off the A to Z. A few brands I need to talk about, which are not here at the festival. Giant Syncdrive Pro. I think that system proves that it is a great system. It's one of the most waterproof systems I've ever used. Ridden it through countless streams and lakes. Battery is pretty much unbreakable. And then it also reminds me of the fact that it's actually about the bike as well. Recently rode the new Rain E Plus with Rob Warner. Fantastic descending bike, great gravity bike. G, skip up to M for Maxon. We saw the beautiful Geniac bike at Ciota Girona, 17 kilos with the Maxon Airdrive S system on it. Insanely quiet, punchy, great power delivery, beautiful piece of Swiss precision. Also on the Thomas bike, I expect to see Matthias Flukiger riding that bike this winter in training. Folks, if you want power, you need to be looking at Mahle. Now, Mahle is one of the world's largest automotive suppliers from Germany, but the e-bike division is based in Palencia in northern Spain. Took this bike in some extreme mountains a month ago on the channel. 105 Newton meters, 850 watts peak power, battery options of 800 or 534. Integration of the system is amazing. Reliability, backup. I've just been talking to the guys here in France about the service backup, which is vitally important of any e-mounted bike you buy. But then, of course, the fine details, the wireless remote on here, 3 modes, top tube display, and it's actually one of the lightest and most powerful drive units on the market. So Mahle, brands you're looking for, Sons from Italy, Titan, Labyrinth, and Abams, that beautiful steel bike from northern Spain. Ollie is a motor from Italy. We're increasingly seeing those motors on lots of bikes, really compact, smooth power delivery. O and then P. P is for Panasonic, the GX Ultimate. New version was launched in Eurobike this year. Range of bikes. I think one of my favorite Panasonic bikes actually is the Flyer. Rode the Flyer bike. So if you think about power delivery and peak power, then that Panasonic's had 95 Newton meters for many years. You know, the smoothness, the kind of ability in technical terrain is, you know, pretty up there. So a few new bikes which are off script, but I think nevertheless you guys need to know about them. Cheers, guys. Pinion MGU on quite a few bikes, high bike and also the Nikolai Saturn 16. Lots of things you need to know about. It's a combined motor gearbox unit, Gates belt drive. There's no mech on the bike, there's no cassette on the back, so it's pretty much maintenance free. Can run for 10,000 kilometers without a service. You can just clean it with some water. For me, it's the dream, but I actually think the jury's out on the MGU bike. And what I can say to you is, if you're kind of in the balance, go and ride the bike, go and ride a good bike, because this bike, 160mm travel, one of the best descending experiences I have ever had on two wheels. So I think it's definitely a bike you need to go and try before you buy. I think for a certain type of riding, it's brilliant. And yeah, just go and give it a go, because I think it's really, really interesting, the ride characteristic of a bike with the Pinion MGU. R is for Rocky Mountain. It was one of the first to come with the high torque, high power, fantastic integration, a wonderful system. I've enjoyed many days on the Rocky Mountain. The Power Play. So in the background here is the Power Play, the Instinct Power Play SL, but I think it's the full power Power Play, which is actually the flagship and the bike you guys need to take a ride on. It's been there 8 years and it's still top of the list. This video could not be complete without the Specialized Levo. And the Levo has always been specialized. It's always been a personalized emtb system. It's not an off-the-shelf system with the Levo. All the guys in Switzerland have fine-tuned this bike over the past decade. They don't just know about motors, they know about how to create a bike which is really great at descending. It's modular, it's fully adjustable, the power delivery is super smooth on it. And like I said, you know, the range of bikes from Levo 4 alloy up to the S-Works Limited, the geometry is the same, the frame dimensions are the same, the suspension kinematics is the same, it's just different components on the bike, and they're all great descending bikes. Don't forget, folks, when it comes to descending and bike handling, these guys know what they're doing. SRAM Powertrain, do not forget the e-bike system, and do not forget the bikes as well. Nuke-proof, barrier, propane, gas, transition. Beautiful bikes with this system on it. 95 Newton meters and 680 watts peak power. Remember, it's got the auto shift feature on it and also the coast shift for when you're descending and it changes gear and you're ready to go on the next climb. Boom. Just quickly, folks, now I have to disclaim that I've not ridden this system, but BH Bikes have got a new trail bike, 150, 160, with the SEG motor on it, which is 65 Newton meters with 630 watt-hour batteries. But very cool bikes. Going to bring you some more news on that system next year. Orbea Rise LT. This is actually the carbon LT version. Remember, it comes in aluminium as well. The Rise also is available in an SL version, which is 140, 150. This is 150, 160. I've always had a soft spot for this bike ever since it was launched. The heart of the bike is the Shimano EP801. Remember, the 801 is 85 Newton meters. What they've done with this is they've reduced the power from 600 watts peak to 400 watts peak, but you can actually adjust the power yourself to have whatever kind of power characteristic you want. So what you've got here is actually a 20 kilo bike, 20 kilo full power E-mountain bike, which has got an insane spec, which you can adjust. the reason for the adjustment in power is they actually run a 420 watt-hour battery in the down tube, but you can update that to 630 watt-hours if you want that. Not too much of a cost in price. So there you go, folks. I think in terms of Shimano equipped bikes, that is definitely, I reckon it's one of the bikes near the top of my list. Shimano EP801. Quite interesting, actually. There's a couple of journalists around the world who are pretty keen to plot the demise of Shimano e-bike systems. I think that is very clueless. I mean, Shimano have been in the business of drive units systems for about a decade now. The great thing about the Shimano system is the fact that you can have the highest of highest end componentry, such as the new XTR Di2 on your emtb. We've seen some Orbeas, Cannondale Moterra SL, ridden Merida bikes, Tok bikes, Yeti bikes. And if you think of e-bike systems in general, you think of mountain bikes in general, there's always a cycle when they come out with something new. So I'm speculating here, but Shimano mean business. They're back in the game with Di2 electronic wireless shifting, which you now have on e-bikes. So you've got that facility. You've also got, I mentioned super high end, you've also got the basics, Link Glide cassettes and derailleurs. We go through a lot of cassettes and derailleurs on e-mountain bikes. They are super durable, 3 to 4 times more durable than normal systems. Got to take that into account. On my white bike, which I ride, I've actually got the Q system. It's cable, it shifts, the precision is immaculate on it. So we don't always need the super high-end stuff. There's the basic stuff as well. And I think the great thing with Shimano is they cater for everybody. And I'm speculating here, but I'm guessing there's going to be something new soon. T is for TQ. HPR 50 on 2 flying machines, the Thresh SL from Propane and this beauty here, the Spectral on Fly. 50 Newton meters, range of specs, and when it comes to descending, some bikes. Yamaha were the first people to bring a pedelec to market in the 1980s. One thing that Yamaha offer is flexibility for the manufacturers in terms of the drive unit, the battery, the display, the controller. You've got an app for the bike. So the PW system for me has always been super reliable. The latest has got 100 Newton meters and 800 watts peak power. Really interesting to see what these guys bring in 2026. And finally, I'm talking ZF. The ZF Centrix grabbed lots of people's attention at the Eurobike show in 2024. Raymon was actually one of the first people to spec that motor. Don't actually know what's happening with ZF, especially on the Raymon bikes, but let's not get too worried about that because they already have some great bikes such as this Raymon Vantor here, which is 170mm travel, 800 watt-hour battery, CX motor from Bosch, and it's £4,799. So, motors do matter, but also do not forget the spec of the bike, the price of the bike, the looks of the bike, all these things matter. A hot list of bikes for you folks to have a look at in 2026. It's not, it's just an idea of bikes, of motors for you to tune into. Did I make it a 26 e-bike motors? I don't think I did. I can add to them. I can go with Ananda, Motonova, Hyena. We could throw in Star Union. You could put in one really interesting system from the UK called IntraDrive. There's 5 there. I bet you that's 26 e-bike systems for 2026. One bike I didn't mention actually, which I can't believe I didn't mention it. I mean, thing is, things that are close to you sometimes forget. My white Kado with the Bosch CX on it, £3,600. Shimano Q's on it. It's the entry-level bike. I've upgraded to an 800 watt-hour battery. The fun I've had on that bike, off the charts. So anyway, that's my short list of bikes for 2026. Please get involved. I mean, there's some beautiful bikes out there. I've not really talked about bikes that look good either. I mean, that is possibly one of the key factors that people think about when they choose an e-mountain bike. So let's know your thoughts on your hottest bikes for 2026.